Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions for the penultimate round of the No Limit Racing Late Model Championship. We are at the home of, not late models, but sprint car racing. Still a great track for late models though. Knoxville, Tennessee. Half a mile of flat-out action here coming up for you tonight. We got plenty of new drivers in for this second last round of the season, and it's sure to be an incredible night of racing here on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel. Welcome if you are watching here live. I'm Rhys Gardner. Daniel Zippy Salmon is alongside me in the comms box, and also producing behind the scenes, Zippy. I've been looking forward to Knoxville pretty much the whole season long. Average speeds are going to be high. This is, I think, the most on throttle time you're going to be seeing at any track this season.
Well, certainly, Rhys, with 700 horsepower available through the rear wheels of these things, that's definitely a lot of fun, for sure. And he was comparing it a little bit to Outdoor just before we went live on stream. Certainly, again, still very much getting myself familiar with these dirt racing cars. Actually starting to get a little bit of desire to start driving some of them little midget ones as well. But certainly, you know, we can look at that down the road. But Rhys, I gotta say, it's definitely good to see some new drivers in here. We'll give them a quick shout out. Mason Setting appears to be new, Landon Valkenburg as well, Brock Morris, and I believe there was one more as well who was lurking around in there. Maybe
Douglas
not.
Rockwell?
No, we've definitely seen him. I definitely recognise that name in the 217 car. But again, a huge welcome to these guys for joining in the No Limit Racing League. Certainly they will be back for another season. But speaking of being back, Rhys, let's see where they've been and indeed where they're going to be going.
Yes, we started all the way back in March at Lanier, Charlotte and Cedar Lake, two fantastic rounds there. Eldora was where the championship really came alive, with Volusia Speedway Park also hosting a fantastic night of racing. Fairbury and Lernerville were certainly big rounds with plenty of incidents all throughout the field. We are, of course, here at Knoxville for the second last round, and Lucas Oil Speedway at Indianapolis Raceway Park is going to round off the season next week. Those dates are, yes, a little bit off. Just remember, it's actually going to be May the 21st that we're going to be seeing, or May the 20th rather, North American time. I'm still operating on Australian time. Yeah, 9 rounds for this season, and it's just been a pleasure to watch this championship steadily grow over the last 7 weeks. And here in week 8, well, we've got a big roster of drivers.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, speaking of a roster, let's take a quick look here at the championship points. And I was actually very surprised to load these in just before the session. James Dorr has indeed taken over the lead for the championship. Not by a lot. He's only got it by 5 points right now over what seems to be the favourite going in of Jackson Whittington. Dustin Regan very closely behind in third. I wouldn't rule him out yet, but again, under more competition. Mike Henderson getting in there with just 30 points behind, and William Kirk as well, rounding out your top 5. Battles actually happening throughout the field here. And I got to say as well, Michael Lonas, he's currently there with 0 points. But I got to say, very potent driver to watch as well. We've seen some good success from him. But Rhys, I believe practice has just finished as well. We're going to be getting ready to go into qualifying any moment now.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to this. We obviously want to thank P1 Sim Sports and 5-6 Graphics for their support of this series. Fantastic sponsors indeed. They make this show possible. And it is possible now for the drivers to emerge onto the track in qualifying. Garrett Hommel, one of the first out. And what you'll notice first off about this track, Zippy, is there's that berm on the inside at the corners here. They might seem like they're going wide through the turns. It can be very difficult to tell where the berm starts and ends if you're looking externally. But trust me, it is there. And if you end up riding up on it, it's going to massively unsettle your car. It's an incredibly wide track as well. Super fast. The straights aren't very long either. You're spending a lot of time going sideways.
Well, that's definitely something I am a fan of. But speaking of the sponsors, I definitely want to give a big shout out to them. Certainly Kevin at P1 Sim Sports. They are high-end sim racing components and tailor-made sim racing rigs to casual users, esports sim racers, real-life race car drivers, certainly we've got a few of them in here, and event organizers. Their state-of-the-art designs create an immersive, ergonomic, and realistic experience that focuses on driver comfort, engagement, and feedback. All critical if you want to be competitive. Our unique approach helps create the ultimate experience for you, whether you're just getting it started, want to grow over time, or have it all today. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, a huge thank you there to Kevin, at P1 Sim Sports. And they do have a referral program as well. Rhys, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, indeed. Anyone who successfully gets another driver to apply and race, make a start here in the No Limit Racing League, will get a custom 3D printed nameplate. Zippy, you've managed to pick one up yourself. I haven't thus far, but many drivers have been awarded this. You get a flag, you get your name, you can bolt it onto your rig wherever you like. Lovely little bit of kit.
Oh, absolutely, and I've got to say, it's one of those things that just makes it a little bit more personal as well, which is actually kind of nice, honestly. Everybody, they tend to get into their stuff, they get their rig and stuff like that, but how often do they actually do something to, really identify it as their own? And I think, for not only that, for a referral program, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely is. Really would love to have one of those things to bolt onto my rig. I'm not exactly sure where I would put it, but yeah, it's always nice to have something like that around. Oh, Lightning McQueen's out on track. James Dorr putting that livery on his number 78 entry. Championship leader coming into this round. Jackson Whittington has missed the last couple of rounds, so it looks like his fight for the championship is going to be in jeopardy coming into the final round next week. Dorr immediately going to provisional top time there. 18 seconds, the lap times around here. And it looks like that's going to be one of the final drivers setting that time there for the grid. Every driver getting 2 laps over the 5 minutes of qualifying, and they've all gotten it done very early indeed. But we still have 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining in the session, so if there's any stragglers who want to come in and get themselves done, then now is the time. But looks like Mo has decided to advance to the next session, so we're getting straight into the first heat. With 14 drivers in the session, we've got 3 heats on the cards tonight, and Dorr's going to be starting on pole for the first one alongside Ben Wilson and the Double O, Michael Lonas and Jared Miller on row 2, with William Kirk rounding out the 5 cars to take to the start here. Now, I would expect that Dorr is going to potentially run away with this, but I gotta say, those qualifying times not too far apart. Wilson setting an 18.08 in qualifying, 18.01 for James Dorr, only 0.07 of a second separating them. These are the full qualifying results. Nick Rhys is going to have pole for Heat 2, and Thomas Hall will have the pole position for Heat 3. Basically, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 down the field to organize those grids. They're pulling away behind the pace truck, and we'll get ready for our 2 formation laps here around the brilliant Knoxville Speedway. Very historic circuit, this one. It's the location of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. It is the mecca of dirt racing in the United States.
Well, certainly, I'm very much looking forward to the action. James Dorr there, he's there in the chat, and as is one of his buddies, Aidan Waters, and his first pole of the season, so congratulations to him. A very nicely job, well done.
Yeah, brilliant time being set there by the number 78. Certainly putting that Lightning McQueen paint job to good use. I'm still keen to see how Ben Wilson will challenge him here. We can't forget about Jared Miller and Michael Lonas either. Lonas making his return to the series after missing a few rounds, and Miller always a factor in and around the top 5 when it comes to the feature. So let's see what they can do here as they come around turns 3 and 4. waiting potentially for another formation lap here. No, actually, we're going straight for it here. Immediately, the pace truck pulls in, and James Dorr is immediately on the power. That was a very early start, and it caught out Ben Wilson, falling to 4th place as we get ready to go racing here tonight. Wilson already alongside Miller here to try and get back onto the podium. Of course, there is no chance of true elimination in this in this event, Zippy, because yeah, basically the heats are here to set the grid for the feature, but Ben Wilson would certainly want to start up further than this.
Yeah, certainly he had some good pace, certainly, and he was starting in P2, but I guess James Dorr just took advantage, saw that he was napping. As you see Jared Miller there, having a little tap on the wall. Is this going to be the opportunity that the 00 Ben Wilson really can capitalize on? Certainly he's putting in a good run, but falling back just a little bit. James Dorr currently out in the lead. He's got a clean run. Michael Lonas right behind him, but the closest battle on screen right now is indeed between Jared Miller and Ben Wilson.
It looks like Wilson's losing out a little bit. You see that Miller is running the high line there, get a little bit of an extra cushion, so to speak, going. Knoxville is one of those tracks where the turns are very gentle, so yes, they are still sideways, but this is actually one of those tracks where it's better to keep the car as straight as possible. You don't want to be losing too much time in the corners here. It looks like Miller just went a bit too sideways on entry for his liking, may lose a couple of hundredths to Ben Wilson there. Michael Lonas, meanwhile, is pushing hard here as they come on to the end of the 6th lap, running a little bit faster than James Dorr. So we'll see if there's any threat here for the number 78.
Yeah, certainly he's starting to apply a little bit of pressure. Is the number 5 car, but I think William Kirk's looking for a move there as well, as he's side by side now with Ben Wilson. Can he make it stick? It's a battle of the 27 versus the 00, and right now William Kirk has gone ahead, but can he keep that momentum going?
Yeah, it's not been a good run for Ben Wilson here. Looks like he lost some time there, trying to cut underneath William Kirk, get back into the top 4. But it looks like Kirk will cover him off nicely. There's the dive to the inside from the 00. Is there any grip down low? It looks like maybe just enough to get him side by side. He'll have to complete the move in the next corner. The checkered flag is out. And it looks like James Dorr coming across the line in first, but it's still on there for that 4th spot. Kirk will beat Wilson to the line. Exciting finish to the first heat of the night. James Dorr coming away with the victory. Michael Lonas finishing in 2nd spot. We had the number 70 of Jared Miller rounding out the podium. Kirk, after starting 2nd, would have wanted that to go way better than it did. It all came down to that start from James Dorr. I think he took everyone by surprise by getting the power down as soon as the pace truck pulled off. Ben Wilson rounding out the top 5 in Heat 1. It is time for Heat 2, though. Nick Rhys on the pole for this one, with Garrett Hommel alongside. Kenneth Feeney and Dustin Regan on row 2. Douglas Rockwell rounding out this field. Again, small fields in the heats, but still a lot of potential for excitement.
Oh, absolutely, Rhys. Certainly, I've definitely been enjoying it. And I think actually in this one I'm finding... We used to have it where, you just be, okay, we'll think this guy's going to win it, but now we're getting a lot more fierce competition. Certainly in this one, I'm honestly kind of spoiled here. There's any number of these drivers could win this race. Certainly, there's definitely all of these guys have got potential. And honestly, it's a hard pick. I mean, we've seen Nick Rhys have some incredible potential. Garrett Hummel's been here a bit longer, but I don't think I can discount Dustin Regan either. All of these guys, very competent. Actually, Dustin Regan as well, despite only 914 IR, incredibly potent for the statistics considered.
Yeah, indeed. I ratings do tend to be a bit lower on the dirt side. It's a very small community. But, yeah, you certainly see a lot of drivers who tend to take to dirt racing a bit better than other forms of motorsport available on the iRacing service. Well, we're coming around to get the start here for Heat 2. Nick Rhys getting the power down. He waits a bit longer than James Dorr did in Heat 1, and so the start is a bit more even between them, but already Garrett Hommel under pressure. Some contact from Kenneth Feeney, who has a new livery for this round. Dustin Regan taking advantage of the coming together to move himself up into 3rd place. Could this be the first of a few positions he makes up?
Yeah, certainly I've got a lot of confidence here in Dustin Regan, but Garrett Hummel is by no means a slouch either. Certainly had a little bit loose there at the start, but able to keep things going together, which is exactly what this man wanted. The number 19 of Nick Rhys. He's currently there, powering ahead about 0.6 of a second so far. You see Hummel just a little bit further back. These guys starting to spread out a little bit now, but Regan looking to try and capitalize and move his way up onto the second spot of the podium.
Interesting to see that Regan is running pretty low line compared to everyone else. It seems that Nick Rhys and Garrett Hummel are very comfortable running that sort of mid to high line, but Regan, particularly in turns 3 and 4, was going down low a bit too much. This time he's a bit too high. He's gotten up into the loose clay up at the top there. He's lost grip, he's lost pace, and now Kenneth Feeney stands a chance at getting onto the podium.
Yeah, certainly Feeney took full advantage of that, and that pulled them incredibly close together, but it looks like Nick Rhys may be under some pressure as well. Garrett Hummel starting to get a, not quite a sniff, but certainly starting to suggest that he's going to certainly do so. Now just 0.2 of a second, 0.15 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, incredibly close.
Yeah, incredibly close indeed. Some fast laps being set there by Garrett Hummel. He's been faster than Nick Rhys by about 0.1 of a second over the last 2 laps running, so could be a move for the lead on the final lap of the race. They're going to have 2 to go when they cross the line next, and at Knoxville it's difficult to pick the flag stand, but they did just pass it. And our leaders are together here on lap 7 of 8. What does Garrett Hummel have to do to get past? He'll have to go for a dive somewhere, but you can see that they're both struggling to keep the car straight there through the mid-corner. White flag out, and it is time for the run to the line.
Oh.
Down to the inside goes the 42 contact through turns 1 and 2, and it's a drag race down to 3 and 4. Nick Rhys still ahead at the turn-in point, but Garrett Hummel gets the lead from him through turn 4, needs to park it in front and stymie the run, but the cutback from Nick Rhys will give him the victory. Dustin Regan fends off Kenneth Feeney for 3rd place, and Douglas Rockwell having some adventures after the checkered flag. He finishes in 5th. Well, a successful 2nd heat there for Nick Rhys, but what that tells me is Garrett Hummel, once the pace starts to build, he is a factor. I'll look out for him in the feature.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly he was somebody to keep an eye on. And what an incredibly close finish as well. Just 0.03 of a second in it. Fantastic racing there from Heat 2.
Yes, and now it is time for Heat 3. Only 4 cars for this one. Thomas Hall going to start on the pole alongside Mason Setting, one of the new drivers here tonight. Another new driver, Landon Falkenberg, in 3rd, with Brock Morris rounding off the field in the 05. Getting some Peter Brock vibes from that one. Very nice to see. So, away they will pull behind the pace truck out of the pits. Knoxville, one of the few dirt ovals that actually has proper pits on the inside of the racetrack here. Most of the dirt ovals on iRacing, especially the smaller ones, either have sort of quote-unquote fake pit lanes set up inside the circuit, or they have pit complexes on the outside of the circuit. So, yeah, Knoxville certainly a high-profile venue in that sense too.
I gotta admit, I did really enjoy the pits from, I think it was last week, Rhys, where they could pretty much take it off when they go in and out of the pits. Certainly made that very entertaining for me. But generally, actually, these guys doing very well so far. I'm looking forward to the main feature, though. We may see a couple of full course yellows could indeed come out.
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot of potential for cautions at such a high-speed circuit. They form up as they pass the Sprint Car Hall of Fame on their right-hand side. On the exit of turns 1 and 2. Thomas Hall getting ready to power away here, leaving a bit of space to the pace truck as it pulls in. Is he going to decide to go early is the question. It's going to be a big run from Mason Setting here if he wants to challenge for this win. Thomas Hall a bit sluggish off the line there. That's the most even start we've got so far tonight, and they're almost 3 wide for the lead in turn 1. Around the outside, Mason Setting will go to the lead.
Well, absolutely fantastic stuff. And we do indeed have 2 new drivers in this heat, Mason Setting and Landon Falkenberg, and I think Brock Morris as well. 3 new drivers in this heat, ladies and gentlemen. So Thomas Hall, he's in very unfamiliar territory with these drivers, but certainly they are definitely giving him a run for his money right now as he's lost the top spot and has Landon Falkenberg just 0.2 of a second behind him.
So here we go. Let's keep our eyes peeled on Thomas Hall to see if there's any response here for Mason Setting. A 10th slower on the first lap there, on the first 2 laps there for Thomas Hall. And Landon Falkenberg not going to pressure him too much. He was a 10th slower. Brock Morris still hanging on at the back there, running a bit lower than the others there. Try and get the geometric faster line around the circuit, but it seems that the top is where you want to be, ripping that fence and seeing what you can do to keep the momentum up through the corners. Are there any gains to be made by the number 93 here? We'll compare lap times as they come across the line again. Mason setting an 18.2. It's also an 18.2 from Thomas Hall. They're only separated by 0.02.
Yeah, incredibly close. You see right now, Mason Setting does indeed have the fastest lap of the race, but not by much, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas Hall looking to try and apply a bit more pressure. Brock Morris, actually, I do recognise him now just purely because of the John Deere paint. Please forgive me for that, but certainly good to see him back on his second round here at No Limit Racing.
Indeed, had to take a break for a bit, but it's good to see him back. Meanwhile, it's a battle of the new versus the slightly more seasoned. Thomas Hall was not here for the start of the season. He joined a couple of rounds in, but he quickly made his mark on this championship, and he'll be keeping that pace up nicely as they transition onto the penultimate lap. And the white flag will come out here. Can't quite see Barney waving the white flag from this view, but to be sure, it is the final lap of the race, and it looks like the gap might be a bit too big for Thomas Hall to make up. Start to see some bumps and ruts forming in the course now as the track is more worn in. All the cars running over it, working the wheel to the line. Mason Setting crosses the line and wins the final heat before the feature. Hall will finish in second place with Landon Falkenberg and Brock Morris finishing where they started in third and fourth. Man, it's already been pretty exciting thus far tonight, but now we get into the feature. Those are your results from the heat. It's time for all 14 of our drivers to jump onto the grid now and get ready for the 35 green flag laps set to come. James Dorr going to start on pole position for this one with Nick Rhys in second. Mason Setting on the second row with Michael Lonis. And we have Garrett Hommel and Thomas Hall rounding out your top 6. Jared Miller and Dustin Regan on row 4, with Falkenberg and Kirk rounding out your top 10. Feeney and Morris round out your top 12. Then we have Wilson and Rockwell bringing up the rear. Let's see what they can do to find their way forward. I'll tell you what, most cars I've seen competing here in a while, and it's going to be a fun time.
I'm just noticing we got fireworks, Rhys.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Knoxville's...
They don't hang around, do they?
Yeah. Knoxville's one of the tracks on iRacing where fireworks are a part of the scenery when you get to the race. I love the little things that iRacing adds to certain circuits to make it a bit more like the real world. I mean, you've got the military jets flying the tricolor at Le Mans. You've got the fireworks at the end at Sebring and Eldora as well. Got fireworks at the start here at Knoxville. Fantastic little touches.
Well, one thing I did just notice, Rhys, is Landon Falkenberg has not left the pit, so I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I didn't see any incidents to put him to the back of the line. Certainly, I don't know if you can see anything on your end, but we will keep an eye to see if there is indeed a delayed start or perhaps a incident here for the Texas driver.
Yeah, that's not ideal there for Landon Falkenberg. He just flat out didn't take to the grid. Potentially had a real life issue keeping him away from the sim at that point. Well, we'll see if the caution is extended. Of course, we got to remember that once everyone pulls away here and the grid timer is done, you have to start from the pits. So maybe we're going to go green for maybe half a lap, and then Mo throws the caution flag to allow number 21 of Falkenberg to jump back out onto the circuit. We'll see, though. The green flag will fly, but everyone staying in formation and waiting for the opportunity here for the 21 to come out of the pits. He certainly does, behind the pace truck.
And yep,
so a bit of a delayed start here at Knoxville.
And yep, the yellow flag has indeed gone. So something was going on there with the number 21 car of Landon Falkenberg. I have a feeling he may indeed get given a wave around. I'm not too sure at this point. Certainly, huge shout out to Race Control Mo Una. He does make every effort to make it as fun for his drivers as he possibly can. And certainly he does appreciate that, you know, these things happen. As you can see right now, the pace truck kind of following behind these drivers. So it's going to take him just a couple of minutes to get this sorted out. Don't get me wrong, he's driving a Silverado. You know, he'll just be happy it's running at this point.
Yeah, indeed. Might have to do some wave arounds there to get everything sorted out, because otherwise we're likely going to be seeing some black flags being assigned automatically to drivers. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that one. Falkenberg pulling over to the side of the circuit as it looks like everyone has... Yeah, looks like everyone's picked up some speed here. Interesting to note that it seems Douglas Rockwell is being classified in the lead. I think with the timing of the pace truck being brought out, that's mucked up the order a little bit.
I'm not too sure. On my end, he's in P13 right now, but the part that doesn't make any sense to me is that Landon Falkenberg is obviously going to be a lap down, so I would have thought, if anything, he would have passed all of these guys and slotted onto the back of that line. So, not quite sure what's happening at this point.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion as it looks like everyone's fallen into order behind the pace truck. Sorry, but yeah, I am seeing, like, in the sim itself, Douglas Rockwell is classified as in the lead on my end. And it's also showing up on my timing app as well. But we'll put that behind us, because the green flag officially flies here with James Dorr leading the way into turn 1. And away we go at Knoxville. Mason setting a little bit too tight out of the corner there. And the number 19 of Nick Rhys is going to jump his way back to second place there with a cutback down into turns 3 and 4.
Oh,
absolutely
move.
Loving the action here. Oh, contact as Rhys gets into the lead ever so briefly, but then Mason's setting goes up the inside. James Dorr back to 4th now,
contact.
As there's contact coming together. Almost a pincer move there from Lonas and Rhys.
Yeah, certainly things are starting to get very, very spicy as it's getting even more spicy further back in the field. It looks like Hummel's getting into it as well. Dustin Regan, Thomas Hall, all of these guys trading paint. As you see there, Thomas Hall and Dustin Regan coming to blows as well. James Dorr falling back, 3 positions so far. And now it is indeed telling me that Douglas Rockwell is currently leading the race. I'm inclined to disagree. He's further back at the field. But you see there, back at the front of the pack, battles do continue. Nick Rhys getting in it. You got Mason setting, Nick Rhys and James Dorr holding out your top 3 right now.
Yeah, looks like we may have to have some admin intervention here to get the running order back the way it should be. William Kirk back in the pits. Unfortunately, it looks like something's happened to him. Ben Wilson has also gotten some damage further back in the field, but the racing is on at the front, side by side for second between Lonas and Rhys. And out of the corner, who gets the better run? You almost don't want to be on the inside at corner exit here at Knoxville. The track is so fast, so wide, the turns are so gentle. You need to have the car on the outside to get the best run. Lonas starting to put the pressure on the number 7 here.
Well, I say put the pressure on. He's now having pressure applied to him. You can see there, he's got James Dorr right behind him. He's got Nick Rhys there very briefly on his inside. It's getting incredibly spicy throughout this whole entire field. We're on lap 9 of 35.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be a fun one. We've got plenty more of green flag running to go. Mason setting, continuing to lead the way here. And we have a lot of potential for a big coming together here for the lead. This is one of the closest races that we've seen thus far in the No Limit Racing Late Model Series.
Oh, this is indeed what it is all about, Rhys, and certainly I am having an absolute hoot of a time. You see Michael Lonas, he's currently up one position, applying even more pressure, leaving space for Nick Rhys on the outside. You see Thomas Hall trying to get even closer to that number 78 car there of James Dorr. Dustin Regan looking to try and make some moves as well. Garrett Hummel still very much in that lead pack as well. We have a battle for first all the way down to P8, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is magnificent here. Technically first to 7th if we take Rockwell out of the equation. Down the inside goes James Dorr there to try and get back past Nick Rhys, but they trade spots again on the exits side by side between Setting and Rhys on the way through the first turn. Look at the momentum that Mason Setting builds up there on the exit. The problem for Nick Rhys and Michael Lonas earlier was they were catching the berm, and that really slowed them up through the corners. They want to try and stay away from that extreme inside line. James Dorr placing his car perfectly, but making contact with Mason Setting on the way through. Setting now back to 4th.
Well, incredibly close action so far as Nick Rhys has indeed been able to snake his way up to the front of the pack. Everything looking good so far. Brock Morris and William Kirk, I can tell you, have been in the pits. I'm not quite sure as to why the action has been too potent for us to even consider a replay at this point. As you see Michael Lonas and Mason Setting going side by side.
Oh man, all of these cars together. Thomas Hall right in the midst of it as well. He's just made his way past Dustin Regan there, and a bit of contact on the way in. They almost get up totally into the wall. Regan having to gather it up a little bit as the 42 Garrett Hommel starts building some pace here. Gives him a nudge on the way into the corner. Hommel's certainly looking racy tonight.
I think everybody is, to be honest, Rhys. Nobody is hanging around. I can tell you as well, right now, the fastest speed I've seen is from this gentleman, 141 mile an hour. That's insane.
Yeah, this is a pretty insane pace from Douglas Rockwell, Nick Rhys, etc. Mason Setting and James Dorr still fighting over what should be second place on the track. Of course, the timing is indeed off because they brought the safety truck out too early, and I think that messed with the event timing a little bit. So yes, Douglas Rockwell is classified as being 11 seconds in the lead right now, but he certainly is not. Not bad for a car that started from pit lane. We'll keep our eyes on the entries here for everybody. The smoothness of the steering is incredibly important at Knoxville, especially in cars like these late models that aren't as aerodynamically dependent as the sprint cars that usually race here.
Well, definitely some incredible racing action so far as they have indeed started to spread out. We see 139 mile an hour there from Garrett Hummel. That's incredible pace, ladies and gentlemen. For lack of better words, he's hauling ass in that number 42 car, but it looks like James Dorr now going side by side yet again with Michael Lonas for P4.
Yep, on for the lead as well. I saw both Nick Rhys and Mason Setting catching the berm a lap or two ago, and well, they've got to be careful not to do that too often. The more they battle like that, the more they get into the berm on the inside of the track, more time they're going to give up to James Dorr and Michael Lonas behind. But Mason Setting is looking very comfortable down low at the moment. It looks like the low line has come back.
Yeah, certainly is. It takes a lot of talent to drive these cars, as it looks like they are actually catching up there with one of the cars that's actually going to be lapped. Let's take a quick peek and see exactly who it is. That's going to be William Kirk, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see Ben Wilson just a little bit further up. So certainly not too often we see that here, as it looks like James Dorr is going at it yet again with Michael Lonas.
Yeah, some fresh clay on the inside of the entry to the turns there, and James Dorr takes advantage of that. But Michael Lonas comes right back at him. That's a big old slider that Michael Lonas has pulled there. And he'll keep the momentum up on the exit as well. But the track is so slick on entry up top. There's no chance for pace there. He gets a little bit of a tap from Thomas Hall on the way through the corner as well.
So you just see the car just start to step out a little bit. Somebody just give him almost like a little bit of a booty kiss there, but able to keep control of that. And certainly 1500 IR, he's doing a fantastic job so far. Excellent racing. It's actually some of the I think it's the longest feature we've had without a yellow flag as well.
Yeah, we haven't had a single yellow flag due to an incident yet. Hopefully I haven't just manifested that into existence with 10 laps to go. Thomas Hall still fighting with Dustin Regan here for effective 5th on the road here. And Hall building the pace up, going for it again into the corner. He's carrying so much momentum, but he can't carry too much, otherwise he'll bump Regan around, and that will likely be a penalty for him. See the amount of dirt that's being built up around the outside there as well. It effectively serves as a second wall for you to ride on and feed the right rear into. Door keeping it well in 3rd place for now.
Oh!
As there's contact, big contact between Dustin Regan and Michael Lonas. Heavy damage for both drivers. And we finally get our first caution with a mere 7 laps remaining or so on the clock. They'll pull into the pits for fast repairs. It just looks like Lonas was coming up the circuit there. Dustin Regan couldn't move any further right. The wall was there. Garrett Hommel evolved too.
Yeah, let's take another quick look at that. Certainly it was definitely unfortunate there. Well, we can see it on board here from... Oh, yeah. Nothing you can do for that.
Yeah, that'll do it. Garrett Hommel, I think, maybe not quite aware of the situation there. As they came together ahead of him, he tried to just fire it into the corner there, but often it's best to just jump straight on the brakes in that kind of situation. Well, at the very least, they have fast repairs, so they'll be able to get in there, get the car repaired, and find their way back out onto the circuit in no time. Michael Lonas struggling to actually get it stopped properly in the pit box there, but pop, there it goes. Nice fresh car, and Dustin Regan will come back out as well. So this gives us a chance here to sort of reorganize the running order here. It looks like Douglas Rockwell will indeed be filed back to 10th place. So he spent all of that time classed as being in the lead, but it looks like things have finally sort of evened out there. We are going to be getting a proper green flag run for the final 7 laps of this race. Brock Morris getting waved around the pace car to rejoin the back of the field. William Kirk, he's 5 laps down, so unfortunately he won't be able to get back onto the lead lap here. But I think Ben Wilson, Kenneth Feeney might have a chance of getting a wave around as well. So we'll leave it to Mo to reorganize this field and get ready for a sprint to the finish.
Yeah, definitely some fun stuff going on. As you see, Brock Morris, he's well, he's sitting in enough mud that you start to think that that car was a tractor, and he's certainly hauling it around. So I've got a feeling he's been put at the back of the pack. Don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not in tune with what's happening on the race control side, and for good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want me trying to work that out, but some good stuff here. He's currently bouncing through the order a little bit. I have a feeling he's going to be near the back of the grid, looking at where he's at, but still remains to be seen at this point. Maybe just unlapping himself.
Well, yeah, it looks like that extra wave around for Brock Morris was almost going to put him a lap ahead of the rest of the field. So he's sitting in line for now, going to reorganize himself at the back here. So yeah, it looks like Mo's going to clear whatever black flags come up as soon as we get back to green flag racing. A little bit confusing, all of this that's happening at the moment. But what we can say is one thing that isn't up for debate. Mason Setting has been setting the pace here today.
Yeah, he's new to No Limit Racing. It's fair to say he's having an absolutely fantastic debut. And I honestly do wish Jackson Whittington was here just to give him a run for his money. Certainly that guy, they went to the extent of putting a bounty on the guy for someone to go and beat him, which I thought was honestly great entertainment. I encourage that in more series, ladies and gentlemen. Just, you know, for lack of better words, for a little bit of piss and vinegar, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, indeed. Excellent little initiative there from Mo and the crew. As the green flag's going to fly again here for the run to the finish. 7 laps to go, and the number 7 is leading the way. Mason Setting, though, under big pressure from Nick Rhys as the lead is on out of turn 2. Single file further back in the field, Landon Falkenberg finding his way up to 5th. An excellent run there from the number 21, also new to No Limit Racing. But now We try and figure out how they're going to sort themselves out here. Thomas Hall maybe a bit too sideways there as he tries to hold on to fourth. There's contact between Jared Miller and Landon Falkenberg into the wall for the both of them. Falkenberg around, Dustin Regan clattering into them as well. Douglas Rockwell losing some body work. And it looks like we're going to have a 5, maybe 4 lap sprint to the end from here once they get their cars repaired.
Let's find out exactly what happened here. I have a feeling Rockwell arrived on the scene as it happened. Yeah, he did. He very much did. Let's try and see this from Falkenberg's point of view.
Yeah, looks like Morris was... Oh, goodness me. Oh, yeah. Okay, so a bit of a turn on the way in. And I think that might have had something to do there with the contact with Thomas Hall. No, they actually got a bit checked up behind Hall, it looks like. So Jared Miller, obviously one of the less lucky drivers in this field. It's going to be another blow to him, getting turned around there as Landon Falkenberg tried his best to slow it up there for turn 3. Oh dear. Well, hopefully there's a bit less of that in the last few laps. We've had William Kirk come in for a pit stop to get some extra repairs done. Hommel has been in the pits once, so has Morris, so has Lonis, so has Regan. Douglas Rockwell and Landon Falkenberg will be back in 10th and 11th as things go here. And it looks like Falkenberg's going to elect to continue on, as that's a quite a slide there in the background. That was for, I believe, William Kirk. No? I'm honestly really losing track of what's happening here.
That's all right. It's okay.
But the drivers at the front will form back up. Form back up double file in anticipation for the restart here. Falkenberg all the way to the back. He's elected not to come into the pits.
That's brave.
This one. Yeah, I would think with that kind of damage on the car, you'd want it to be freshened up when you are on for the final few laps of the race. We're going to have 5 laps remaining, I believe, when we get the green flag flying once more, waiting for the pace truck to come in for everything that race control needs to sort out to be sorted out. Well, they're just waiting now for the call, and we'll get back to racing. A very short sprint here at Knoxville to come.
Well, certainly for a second there, Rhys was making me think of Sister Act, and I think the call there, if that's the kind of call they're waiting for, they may indeed want to start praying now as yellow flags do cause yellow flags. This Mason setting does indeed get us underway, and the race continues in a 5-lap sprint to the end.
Mason setting gets away to a good start. James Dorr back into second, but he was a bit too sideways in turns 1 and 2. So that's going to allow an attack from Nick Rhys. He's going to fire it off the high line and get the run down the straight there to get into second place. Supreme acceleration from the number 19 machine. And the 93 of Thomas Hall will now pile the pressure on Jared Miller, who's back in 4th now after his race almost ended. Thanks to bringing out that last caution, but the yellow and black machine underneath the number 70 just a little down the straights, can't take advantage through the turns. Everyone's running the high line except for Michael Lonis, who's trying desperately to make his way back up the field.
What a send. Fair play to him. Huge send, but I don't think it's worked out for him. As you see there, Hommel able to get a much, much faster exit. You see there, actually right behind him, Brock Morris. He's currently the hard charger in the field, up 4 spots. Looking to try and capitalize on this, but not yet able to move further through the grid.
Yeah, not quite. Brock Morris, though, will be happy to hold on to that 8th spot. Remember, he started all the way back in 12th. It is the last lap, though, and Mason's setting is holding on to a lead of 7/10 of a second. He should be very happy with his performance tonight. On debut at No Limit Racing, Mason Setting crosses the line to win at Knoxville.
I've got to say, what a recovery there from Jared Miller as well. He ended up being the hard charger, up 4 spots. Incredibly close. James Dorr just 0.02 of a second in it, but What a result that was, Rhys. Like, incredible. That was definitely our best feature we've had yet.
Yeah, certainly was. Brilliant feature indeed. Some fantastic racing all throughout this field. Well, Mason Setting getting maximum points in his first round of No Limit Racing. And Nick Rhys and Jared Miller will round out your podium. Great result for the both of them. James Dorr, unfortunately, though he started on pole, has to settle for 4th. And, well, he should maybe still be leading the championship coming out of this one. Thomas Hall rounding out the top 5 with Michael Lonis in 6th on his return. Garrett Hommel finishes in 7th place. It was a tough one for him. Same for Brock Morris, so he makes up 4 positions to finish in 8th. Falkenberg finishes where he started in 9th, though you could see before his crash, he was starting to build up some pace there. Hopefully he's here for the final round in a week's time and we can see his true potential. Feeney rounding out the top 10 with Wilson and Regan last finishers on the lead lap. Douglas Rockwell a lap down and William Kirk 5 laps down. Unfortunate for the two of them, but we will have one more race yet to come next week to round off this series. Well, to get into driver interviews, and the first one we're going to talk to is our new man who has put himself straight in victory lane from the outset. Mason Setting joins us now. Great job there in the number 7, Mason. Knoxville being very kind to you on your debut.
Yeah, I've always usually been good at this track. I've always known the bottom to be good here. Sometimes the top is good, but the track was slick tonight. Nice and easy on the bottom. Saved my tires and got the win.
Yeah, tyres very important here at Knoxville, especially as the track slicks up. You're one of the latecomers to this series. There's only one more round to go, but it's at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis Raceway Park. What are your thoughts on that track? First off, are we going to be seeing you for the final round in a week's time?
Yeah, you'll probably see me. For this to be my first race this season in this league, I felt like it was pretty fun. Some fast guys, some fun racing, and yeah, you'll see me.
Awesome stuff, and I'm sure with season 2 on its way in the somewhat near future, we'll be seeing you there as well, Mason. Is there anyone you want to thank for your performance before we let you go?
Yeah, I would like to thank Twisted Speed and my dad.
Thank you very much, Mason Setting, for joining us, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat to you again next week.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's Mason Setting there, winner of the feature and also Heat 3 as well. Meanwhile, Zippy, you've had a chance to catch up to Nick Rhys, who finished 2nd.
Well, Nick, I gotta say, despite joining the series a bit later on, you certainly made a quite the entrance since you got it. Able to get a P2 in the features day. Incredible drive from yourself. Certainly some incredible battles. Tell us a little bit about how you felt for this track.
I honestly had no clue going into it. I turned some laps maybe an hour before this started. I thought it was going to be like bottom dominant the whole way, no top at all, but as we saw, it was both top and bottom switching throughout the race, so it was a fun track to race, surprisingly. Line switched up a lot, made for some good racing.
Absolutely, and certainly I did see at times some of you guys were hitting 140 miles an hour. Absolutely crazy going that kind of speed on a smaller dirt oval, which to me just seems completely nuts, but fair play to you. But Nick, I do know a couple of the drivers in the No Limit Racing. They do actually have a little bit of real life experience. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but if you're one of those, by all means share a little bit about that. If not, tell us about some of your real life experiences outside of No Limit Racing.
I did drive 2 years in an IMCA stock car. It's not quite the same as this, doesn't translate too well, but I've been around dirt my whole life, so yeah, it's pretty cool to run here from Iowa as well. So Knoxville's the home track in iRacing, so yeah, it's pretty sweet.
That's definitely some very, very cool stuff indeed. And it's great to have some real life racing experience here at the No Limit Racing Dirt Oval League. But I got to say, Nick, fantastic stuff here for you as well. Certainly, we're going to be heading to Lucas Oil Raceway for the next round. And while that may not be your home track, how do you feel about it?
I actually really like that track. I don't know how fast I am compared to the rest of these guys, but I do actually enjoy that track. So I am very excited for that race.
Well, certainly I'm looking forward to seeing you. But Nick, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
Brock Morrison, he helped me out with my lines during the race. My parents are watching. It's actually my dad's birthday today, so pretty cool. Got to put on the podium for him. And Revved Up Racing as our team. So, yeah, that's all.
Well, a huge happy birthday to the father of the second place person for the finisher, Mr. Nick Rhys. Congratulations to both yourself and himself, and certainly definitely appreciate your old man while you got him. I know I appreciate mine, as old and cranky as he may be.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Well, Nick Rhys will begin his celebrations there for finishing second as we check in with third place, Jared Miller. Not a bad run up through the field for you, Jared. Certainly was a bit difficult at points as well. You were in the midst of a lot of that drama.
Yeah, that wasn't definitely wasn't our best run, but I think at the end there we made up for it a little bit.
Indeed. Apologies for Zippy dying in the background there. Yeah, 4 positions up in the feature and getting a podium here at Knoxville. I mean, this place is known more for being a sprint car track than a late model track. But these cars actually race pretty well here. At least that's what it looks like from outside the cars. Largely about keeping the car straight and being able to rip that top.
Yeah, if you can keep it straight, I think late model's got a big enough tire on it. They handle pretty good around here.
Yeah, certainly. Well, one more round to go here, and you've got championship points to think about coming into Lucas Oil. You've been here pretty much from the very start of this league, so it's all come down to this, with many new drivers joining the fold.
Yeah, that was. Looking forward to next week. We'll see what happens. Tonight was fun. I'm happy with third.
Absolutely, as you should be. Congratulations on your podium, Jared. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Nah, not this week, I don't think.
All right, fair enough. Well, we're going to thank you, Jared, for joining us, and we'll see you in 7 days' time.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Jared Miller in the number 70, bringing it home in third. Finally, Zippy, we've had a chance to catch up with our race admin.
Well, Mo, it is good to have you in. Certainly not too bad an incident for you on race control today. Only a couple of times there where you've had to get involved. But tell us a little bit about some of the sponsors who are behind the No Limit Racing League.
Yeah, definitely. A huge shout out again to Pit Road Productions. I do want to give you guys a huge shout out. I mean, the job you guys are doing with these races. I try to keep my eye on my phone here on YouTube. Trying to see how you guys are doing. But man, I couldn't be happier than what I am right now with the way you guys have been putting on this season. And then that leads me to Kevin over there at P1. I couldn't have done this without him. All the help that he's brought in, not just by being a sponsor, helping me get this thing going, but the amount of people he's kind of brought my way, and some of the stuff that he's helped me out with, on how I should go about doing this. It's definitely been an eye opener on getting this stuff done. And then that goes to Fusion. They're a great sponsor to have. They're definitely going to help the guys out after this season. And 5-6 Graphics, gonna definitely give somebody a nice little wrap at the end of this.
Well, definitely some fantastic stuff indeed. And we do make a point of promoting your referral program as well. I know Rhys is certainly trying to find some people to bring on over. But ladies and gentlemen at home, if you do know somebody who wants to take part, they do have a referral program. We're going to show the tag actually for the league admin again as well. Ladies and gentlemen, yours will not say the same as this unless your name is also Mo Una, which fair play to you, that would probably be pretty special for him. But if you do want to get one of these tags, you do need to refer somebody. They need to sign up and indeed do one race. So certainly the time is indeed running out. But Mo, I do understand you're going to be back for a second season, albeit not right away. Tell us how planning's going for that so far.
We're getting the schedule up and going right now. Definitely getting a lot of feedback from the guys. Trying to figure out what tracks they kind of want to see come up. There are a few tracks that we left out. We're going to keep it around an 8-week season. It's going to start in July, but the big catch is we're also going to be continuing to run weekly after next week, we're going to start right back on recruiting, trying to get some more guys in here, try to get hopefully maybe 2 races a week in, but we'll see how that goes. But the plan right now is probably, I think it was July 1st is the first week of July. I'm not quite sure on the date yet. Kind of got to work with you and see if Tuesdays are still an option, but I think if Tuesdays are still an option, it's going to end up being July 1st will be the start of our next season. And then I think you and I have talked a little bit too, where we're also going to try to do a broadcasted show in the middle of June. Try to do like a little bit of a showcase and see how that goes.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I see no reason for you guys to move from the Tuesday. Certainly, it's always become my Tuesday habit, you could say. I know that Rhys certainly seems to be in the habit of doing it. And Rhys, if I'm not mistaken, definitely something you want to return to for Season 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, dirt racing is big in Australia, and I commentate, you know, plenty of dirt racing down under as well. So it's fantastic to see it here on Pit Road Productions with a roster of drivers that I was not familiar with at all before the run into this series. So yeah, I'm definitely keen to return, and yeah, I just want to say thanks, Mo, for putting this on. We'll leave all of that for the final round, though, in 7 days' time. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. I do greatly appreciate it and look forward to it.
Well, Knoxville draws to a close, and, well, we're going to have it on at Lucas Oil Raceway next week. Big thanks to everyone for tuning in, to all the drivers for putting on such a great show, to Mo, of course, for organising this series in the first place and bringing us on here at Pit Road Productions to call the action. I'm Rhys Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me, and producing behind the scenes. We'll see you next time on Pit Road Productions.